Well, you're looking at highlights of Kimani Ffriend, who is one of the all-time Jamaica greats. He's played overseas for a number of years. He's played for the national team and has great stories of basketball all over the world. And we're going to talk to him right now. Mr. Kimani Ffriend, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. What's going on?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
What's happening in Jamaica? Tell me, give me the lowdown in Jamaica. So there's an 8 o'clock curfew.
Yeah, well, that's about to change on Friday because, we're going into the Easter weekend. So
Yeah.
the changes that the government has implemented, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the new curfew time is going to be, I believe, starts at 7 p.m.
Oh my, really?
Yeah, 7 p.m. on Good Friday.
Yeah.
And until I believe, no, you know what? I think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
All I know is it starts 7 p.m. but it's going to be from 7 until 3 p.m. until Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday it finishes at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So for the whole Easter weekend, we're going to be done every day. Everything has to shut down at 3 p.m. daily.
Yeah. It's a little different vibe for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, this is not something that they're used to. No social life, nothing going on. I mean, no amusement. I mean, if you're not a essential worker, I mean, you're pretty much, working from home. You got to, everybody's practicing social distancing. So, it's tough, especially for those who are not used to being in in a house.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, it's all for a good cause. I mean, I have no problem coming on and instilling some of my knowledge, my past experiences, hopefully, I can help impact some of the youth and, just talk about, where Jamaica basketball is heading.
right. That's kind of the reason I wanted to start doing these things because partly, like you, I'm stuck at home and I've run out of things to watch on Netflix and I want to feel like
you want everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I kind of looking for stuff to fill the time and I'm interested in part like in talking to guys like you, learning more about the history of basketball. I think it's important, if you want to move a program forward, you got to kind of know where you've been. And you've been a big part of it for a long time and you know a lot of the history involved and you're part of that history. So I just kind of wanted to have you on and catch up and say hi and just talk to some people about what we're doing and what you've been doing and so again I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. So tell me, like, I know some of this. We've talked a little bit about this before. You weren't a basketball player your whole life, right?
No. I more had success in the more traditional sports like, football, cricket, track and field, which was my strongest.
So hold on now. Hold on. You're
strongest
6'11". You're 6'11", right?
Yes, that's correct.
So have you always been a tall guy, or did you kind of grow later?
Yeah, always been throughout my whole life. I mean, since I went to elementary school.
You were always the tall kid.
I was always the tallest. The tallest. And
don't they stick the tall kids into the goalie? Long arms, right?
But actually, when I was playing football, everybody wanted me to be the goalie, and especially because I had good reflex, had good athleticism, so they always wanted to push me in the goal, and that was something that I wasn't too fond of.
Yeah. So how'd you get hooked into basketball?
Well, basically, it's an interesting story, because just to cut a long story short.
Yeah.
First, it was at Arden High, coach, Basil, Barrett, otherwise known as Spidey. He really was persistent in trying to get me, involved in basketball. I never had interest in basketball. I had no love for the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sport that appealed to me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was more into football and cricket, for example, and other sports. Like I also played some tennis and all of that. But basketball was far away from my mind. And during the school year, he would always see me and always want to be like, "Yo, you're tall. You need to come try out for the team."
Right.
I kept on brushing him off. Mm-hmm. And then one day I just decided to just go ahead and just try it. And I went and saw one of the games. It started to appeal to me, and his persistence started to wear on me, and just out of just pure curiosity, I went out there and just tried to get a feel for the game, and I caught on pretty quickly, and then it just became a sport that I grew to love. But I only played it for a couple months, and then after that, I left.
How old were you then?
How
old were you then when you first started?
When I got introduced to the game, I want to say I was probably about 15 or 16, Right. But I never played it. I never played it after that again until I went to Bel Air. Until I went to Bel Air High School. That's a lie. I forgot about my stints in. Actually went to Mount Verde Academy.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Mount Verde Academy.
Yeah,
Mount Verde is one of the top schools. They were ranked number 1 in the nation.
Yeah.
Cool. For a while, Coach Kevin O'Brien is the current head coach there right now. So I went there, and when the program wasn't how it is now, but the coach there, can't remember his name, saw my potential and referred me to go to Oak Hill Academy. So I got a scholarship actually to go to Oak Hill Academy.
Well, how did that happen? Did you have family in the States, or did the coach see you?
Well, I have family in the States, but my mom just decided they wanted me out of the country because I had behavioral problems.
So now, are you a Kingston guy?
I was getting myself into a lot of trouble.
Are you a Kingston guy, or did you grow up in Mandeville?
Yeah, I'm from Kingston. I'm a Kingstonian, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at some bio and it said you were from Mandeville.
No, yeah, they messed up on that. I don't know why that is on. I'm not sure. Was it Wikipedia you saw it on?
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conflicting bios out there. There's even bios out there that have me being born in Oregon.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
especially when it came to pre-draft.
Trust the internet, right? Trust the internet on everything.
Exactly. So it's not something that I took the initiative. I took it upon myself to try and correct. But what I mean. But everybody know I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. It's not something that I try to hide.
Yeah.
So like I said, I went. The Oak Hill thing. It didn't work out because of my immaturity. Came back to Jamaica. Went to Bel Air High School. Mm-hmm. We didn't play basketball there until my final year there. We entered the schoolboy competition. It's a schoolboy competition and the knockout competition, and we excelled in that. We lost in the semifinals in the knockout competition, and then that was it for basketball for me. Never played it again, and then just working with my family, going into one of the main banks here in Kingston to deposit a check for my mom. Some guy with the Jamaica Olympic Association shirt on came up to me. I was like, hey, he had an American accent, but you can't say that he has Jamaican heritage. Yeah. And yeah, he just asked me. He was like, oh, you tall, you play ball? I was like, no, I'm not playing any ball, just working in family business and all of that. And he was like, nah, man. He was like, nah, you need to be playing ball. I know somebody would love to, to have have you have your height and everything. Give me a number. Gave him a number. Didn't think much into it. He called me the next day.
Oh,
the
cool.
coach and the line, everything started from there in terms of that. But in all honesty, I mean, I'm jumping all over the place. But before that, I had coaches like, you know, Mike Jarvis from St. John's University, John Cheney from Temple University. Those guys were actually the first to ever contact me here in Jamaica without seeing me. They just heard about me. They called me on the phone, talked to me, were recruiting me, sent my you know, my academics report. For them, it wasn't good enough, so they suggested that I go the JUCO route, which I did.
Yeah. And you ended up going to where? Gulf Coast? Is that right?
I went to the Cab College, which is now Georgia Perimeter. Excelled there, you know, took them to the NJCAA tournament in Hutchinson, Kansas. After that tournament, I blew up. I was a top 50 player, and then I transferred from there, went to the top conference in JUCO, which was the Panhandle Conference back then, and Gulf Coast Community College.
Yeah.
And that's where my career took off.
When did you realize that you were good? Like, when did it hit you that you were a good player? When did you realize it yourself?
Actually, I didn't realize that until I went to Gulf Coast Community College, because when I was there, I was up for Player of the Year. I was an All-American there when I was there. You know, I was averaging, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think it was probably about 17 points, 11 rebounds, and like 5 or 6 block shots. I was in all the major categories. And when everything changed for me was when New Jersey Nets, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Miami Heat came to watch me in JUCO.
Oh, really?
And this was during the time where, if you remember, a player like Chris Porter at Auburn, he blew up. You remember Chris Porter? He really put a lot of the JUCO players on the map, because he was a JUCO player himself.
Yeah.
So guys like him and Pete Michaels coming out to the JUCO system, you know, really helped, you know, guys like me, where, you know, a lot of colleges, you know, a lot of scouts, you know, went around just, you know, looking for that next, you know, that next player out of JUCO. And I was one of those at the time where, you know, they saw the raw talent, they saw the athleticism. Like I said, I was leading the conference in block shots, you know what I mean, also in rebounds at that time. And that is when I knew that I had the talent. When you know, when my coach would tell me and people would tell me, and they even wrote about it in the newspaper, that, you know, there were scouts, you know, NBA scouts in the stands watching me. But at the same time, you know, you're like, you didn't. Honestly, I was always pretty humble about all of these things, or the accolades that I would receive. But, you know, it's something that was like, okay, then cool. Look like I have the talent. You know, I got the talent, and then it just, I had everybody recruiting me from D1 colleges, even D2, everywhere. Everybody was recruiting. The only schools I can say that weren't really recruiting me were like the Duke and North Carolina. But I got a letter from Kentucky, you know, because even back then, you remember the era was, you know, it was a little different. You know, a lot of D1 schools weren't, you know, privy to really recruiting a lot of JUCO players at that time. You know, it has changed a whole lot now, of course, but in my era, that wasn't common. Yeah. But, you know, I had everybody. I had a lot of the major schools recruiting me. From
you ended up
the top 5 conferences.
Yeah, you ended up in a great conference in the Big 12 at Nebraska.
Exactly. And, you know, me going to the Big 12 was more about just coming from Jamaica. I was very big on just being able to connect with coaches, or having that type of relationship. You know what I mean? Because, you know, even though I came from a good family, I had a very, hard, tough upbringing, and just being over there by myself, I was mature. I was ahead of, in terms of my maturity, I was ahead of my time, and I actually knew what I want. And, I was smart enough to know that whichever college I went to, it had to be the right structure, family type atmosphere, and they want me for me and not just the player. So even though I had a lot of the top 25 coaches, recruiting me. To be honest with you, I'm very big on challenges. And even though Nebraska is more known for football, for their football program, what appealed to me was, the whole facility, the coaching staff, the challenge of just like trying to turn around the program. I was going to be that year, especially my first year there, I was going to be playing against at least, I remember at least 5 of the top 5 centers in the nation that were projected to be lottery picks. So that would have helped me a lot if I played well against them. So that was part of the appeal.
Yeah. Well, I do this in Seattle, and that's where I'm from, Northwest area. And your coach, Barry Collier, kind of got his start out here in the Northwest. Coached at a junior college in Seattle. Then he coached in Oregon with Don Monson, and so he's got some ties out here. Now he's the AD at Butler, isn't he?
No, I think he's retired now, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he was an athletic, but he went back to Butler. He was the athletic director for Butler.
Yeah. How was that experience playing for Coach Collier?
If to be blunt, it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought the Butler system. It was a half-court system, and back then I was known for being a half-court player, and especially when you're playing a half-court system, you have to have that, I guess, balance where you not just so much back to the basket player, but you have to be able to mix it up a little bit, face up, got maybe the proper fundamentals with hook shot, but back then I was more known as a rim guy, defensive A type defensive player. Active around the rim. I'm blocking everything. I'm catching everything off the offensive rebound. I was using my quickness and athleticism, to beat the bigger guys, and I excelled at doing that while I was there. I was an all Big 12 when I was there. Especially going into my final, my senior year, I was, the top center in the conference at that time. If it wasn't for Jamal Tinsley, I would have gotten newcomer of the year, but things like that happened. But I was the main guy. I was the main guy at Nebraska before Coach Nee got fired. And when it's tough when you have a new coach coming in with his new philosophy, new system, and I just never fit into his style of basketball. And it actually, to be honest with you, it hurt me. It hurt me my final year.
Yeah. Well, I know you were 3rd in the country in field goal percentage in your senior year, and you were one of the top shot blockers in the Big 12.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. My field goal percentage, I led the nation in field goal percentage actually for most of the season until I want to say the last couple of weeks, and that was because of my own doing.
Yeah.
When I found out that I was I was leading the nation in field goal percentage, I was like, I don't know.
I can't manage now.
I just decided that I wanted to take more shots, and I was just stacking up shots the last couple of weeks of the season. And it didn't work out for me. So I finished, I believe, 2nd or 3rd that season.
So at that point, did you think you might get drafted? Were you disappointed that you didn't, or did you kind of know where you stood?
Yeah. I had scouts coming to my games. In the college, word of mouth, news get out there. Who is watching you? Who is in the stands? It's not something that I was really focused on. But everybody was on my radar. I got a lot of letters from NBA execs. I remember one of the first letters I got was from the Chicago Bulls, and I remember getting the letter with the 6 NBA, championship trophies, in gold, gold dust going across the end of the envelope. And for me, that was, I was I didn't know, how to react, because you're talking about the team that, Jordan built.
Yeah.
So that was the first letter I got. So I was getting a lot of letters from NBA teams just saying that they're watching me, stuff like that. The coach didn't want to give me those during the season. Actually, it was when the season had ended. He had all the letters, had all these letters in envelope, in a little bag, and he just gave it to me because he wanted me to be focused. He wanted me to be focused on the season. So pretty much I knew then going into my senior year that I had NBA type talent.
So you did a tryout with Miami. Miami.
Miami had signed me to a non-guarantee, but I ended up under the injury list back then until January, February, right before the cutoff date, because I had a stress fracture. I mean, Pat Riley really loved me. I mean, he coached Patrick Ewing, and ever since Patrick Ewing, he had a fascination about Jamaican athletes, and I was a player that was on his radar. I mean, with the draft thing, I was on everybody's draft going late, first round, early second round, and on the mock draft. And my career is, especially my NBA career, is a career of injuries. Injuries was was my Achilles.
Part of it, right?
Yeah, my last game before we played Iowa State, which we needed to win to go to the NCAA tournament, because we were on the bubble at that time. I partially tore my MCL, so I didn't end up playing. Tried to play in the Big 12 tournament, didn't work out. We got knocked out by Kansas State. Got invited to all the pre-draft tournaments, which was Fort Smith, the Phoenix Desert Classics, if you remember that which is the top 50.
I do.
The top 50 seniors, and Chicago didn't need to go to Fort Smith, of course, because I already got invited to the Phoenix Desert Classic, which I said before is the top 50 senior players. And I went to Chicago. When I ended up at Chicago, I went for a block shot, and Brian Scalabrine, if you remember him, that played for the Boston Celtics.
He's from Seattle.
Yeah, hit me in the back of my neck, and I had a concussion, and I was done for the whole Chicago pre-draft champ. So that hurt me, because my stock had risen when I was at the Phoenix Desert Classic. So just not being able to play, to play with Chicago, it did hurt me. It did hurt me come draft night, and I had a lot of first round workouts, but one of the things I could say was that when it compared to the other centers at the time, like Chris Mim, Jason Collier, Lauren Woods, if I look back on that time, they were more fundamentally sound than me to be and those picks they were comparing me to those picks, and those picks actually were also, slated to be lottery picks. But if you remember that draft class of 2001, it was the year of that influx of international players and underclassmen that pushed everybody down the draft.
Right.
And I already had gotten word that the Miami Heat wanted me to, if I dropped to the second round, they would have picked me at 36. And Milwaukee would have picked me, I think they were at 37 or 38, if I'm not mistaken. And they had called my agent, who I was represented by IMG at the time. If you're familiar with IMG, they're one of the big agencies in the world.
Right.
And for basketball wise, Vince Carter was one of their the players that was represented by IMG. And they called my agent and told him that if I slipped to 36, I'll be there. And what happened was that everybody, all the seniors, a lot of the top guys got pushed down the draft because they were taking a lot of these international players. And unfortunately, on Miami's draft board, I was behind, if you remember, the top shot blocker in the nation, and in that, I believe, the 2000-2001 season from Ohio State, he was named Ken Johnson. If you remember Ken Johnson.
No.
Yeah, that's one guy. Yeah, he led the nation in shot blocking. So he was ahead of me on the draft because they thought he would have went first round, which he he was on everybody's draft board as a lottery pick. So they had him, they had him on his draft board, and he went ahead of me. So, the word that I got out of the Miami camp was that, they believed that I probably would have gotten, it was better to get me if I went undrafted, was to pick me up, which is what eventually happened, where literally I want to say at least 2 minutes after the draft ended, Randy Font, who was the general manager at the time, called and said that, Pat wants to have me here in the summer, and and he wants me to sign. So went to summer league, did well. They signed me. Pat Riley didn't believe in giving players money. He wants you to fight for a spot, which I did. End up on the team, but I was on the injured list.
Yeah.
So I was there trying to get healthy up until January, February. They rushed me too quick. I re-injured, actually refractured my third metatarsal in my bone, and I was shut down for like 6 months after that. So they basically just paid me, and I end up, they end up bringing in Chris Gatling, and I went and started my career overseas, which started in, for a short in FC Barcelona.
Isn't that the thing though? That's the rub a little bit. Sometimes it's just a matter of luck. Sometimes it's a matter of the right opportunity with the right team.
Exactly. And I try to tell these young kids or guys that just come around all the time, because they always wonder why this player is not in the league. You know what I mean? What why this player didn't make it or whatever. And it's all it has a lot also to do with fit, right system. And if you excel in that system, the system can also help propel you into stardom.
Yeah. And then you end up on a journey like so many other guys before you and after you of trying to figure out a way to get back in it. A basketball around the world.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was never a question about talent. It was never about that with me. It was just never meant to be. Injuries was I mean, I went, I did go back and play with, Miami two more times in summer league, because they were really interested in me. On my part, I would say that the things that I know now in terms of how, the political side of the NBA works when it comes to agents and all of that. What I know now, the last two, times I went back to Miami, had great talk with Pat Riley, and he told me what he wanted from me, in the, mini camps, especially when he was trying to pick, the guy that he wanted to come back. If I followed my instinct, I probably would have not listened to my agent and went back to Miami, because Pat Riley really liked me. He had me around all the time. But I listened to my agents because at the time, I believed that they had my best interest, and they sent me to other teams that, that served their interests and not mine.
Right.
And it wasn't the right fit. And I ended up going back overseas, did well. Came back, Memphis signed me, did well when this was when Jerry West was the.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Well, he's a local of the NBA, so you know what I mean. So
that's right.
He signed me. I did well in summer league, and he signed me to a partial guarantee. I already had one foot in the door, and injuries again. Tore my ligaments in my thumb, and I was finished. And I was there until I got healthy. I forgot what's his name, Thomas. I forgot Thomas' first name, but he had played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But he was a veteran player, and he came in there and he took my spot. And basically, as a veteran, with experience, he solidified himself in that spot. And Jerry West just called me. I was like, yo, Kimani, hey. He basically said to me that that injury is my worst enemy right now. He said to me, do you want to stay? And I said, if you want to stay, we can put you in our little affiliate team, and then we bring you back up. Honestly, I didn't know that's not the route I wanted to go, because I was already a top player in Europe, doing well for myself.
Yeah.
And I just decided that, if my play, shows for itself, that, that will reflect, good on me, and that it, just like I did well before, and scouts came and saw me while I was playing in Europe, the same thing will happen again. So they decided to take the money because I have bills to pay. There was no money in the NBA. It's not the G. It was called the NBDL back then, which I must add that. I have to add that. My team. I'm a part of the first NBDL championship team, which was the Greenville Groove.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
First year.
We won the first NBDL championship.
Oh, cool. So, what teams did you play for in Europe? What countries did you go to? And
like some of the more notable teams that people know would be like a FC Barcelona, Fulham Brada, Dynamo Moscow, Hapoel Jerusalem, Besiktas, which is one of the the top teams, top clubs in all of Europe in terms of not just basketball, but football. Very, very huge, huge fan base. I've been everywhere. I played for the Beijing Ducks. Been to Asia, played for the Beijing Ducks. Same team that Stefan Marbury won. I'm so happy for what Stefan has done, because I can relate to that feeling, because the year that I played for the Beijing Ducks, and Beijing Ducks was one of the bottom feeders in the league, I helped took them to their first ever semifinals. And the reception, and that I got from just getting them there, losing to the 10-time champions Guangdong at the time, just getting them to the semifinals. They treated me like a god over there in China. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so what you see Stefan Marbury winning back-to-back championships, you know what I mean, and they're building a statue for him. I can totally relate to that. Because when you do well in China, they always want you to come back and support. You can basically play your whole career over there. You know what I mean? Because stick, especially in countries like China, they like to stick with players that they know. You know what I mean? They don't really like change too much.
Yeah. No, I spent a year in China. I think we talked about it, and it was the same thing. They treated us like rock stars. And it was a great experience. The fans were awesome, and it wasn't the NBA. It wasn't the dream, right? But it was still a great experience. And I think that's what maybe just left out a lot of times when people hear a story like yours or other players that could have played in the NBA but didn't get there, lose sight of the fact that you still had a great basketball experience, and you came away with stories that are,
You saying that it just didn't work out, but I just got my last check from the NBA last year in November. So in terms of NBA, I'm a third year player. You know what I mean? So part of the NBA Players Association, and I just got my last check, last November, which was, especially in these times, I can't complain.
But my point is, though, that the experiences that you got are priceless. Whether you were able to spend 20 years in the NBA is one thing, and it's not a failure if you don't have a long NBA career. You can still make a great living for yourself.
And for me, from a personal standpoint, I felt like I was in the beginning when it didn't work out, and I know it was my own doing. It just my body just wouldn't hold up.
Yeah.
I felt like I failed, because I really wanted to do so much for Jamaica at the time. That was my thinking at the time, not knowing that even though it didn't work out, I still can have an impact.
Yeah.
Here locally, because my focus was so much on making the NBA, and at the time, in that era, Europe was highly looked upon, because everybody was because if you didn't make it to the NBA, it was like, oh, you don't want to go Europe, it's like a failure. But as you can see, that has changed. If you don't make it to the NBA, a lot of these NBA players are going all over the world. You know what I mean? And if you coach, you should know this. A lot of NBA players have gone on to Europe, playing the EuroLeague, Euro Cup, and they couldn't cut it on that side of the world, and they dropped out. So it's not so just because you're in the NBA, that don't mean you can actually play in Europe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of players
for sure.
from Europe, from the NBA to Europe, just like vice versa with Europe to the NBA.
Yeah. It's so much, like I was saying before, it's so much about the opportunity you presented, the place you are, the style of basketball, the coach you're playing for, the team around you. What does that present for you at that time? That has so much to do with whether you're able to be successful, because there's so many guys that are really, really talented that it's just not a lot of difference between some of the more elite players in Europe and China and some of the lower end players in the NBA. There's really not a lot of difference.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, all of those places, all the places I've been, I mean, it had an impact on my life, personally. I mean, it was just a blessing for me to be able to see the world and travel, and I'm very big on that. That's why, if you look at my resume, I'm like all over the place. And if people would ask me, like, why you play for so many teams, and to be honest with you, it's not that I couldn't go back. I was very big on seeing the world. Yeah. It wasn't so much about the money. It was about just me being happy and being in good environments, and just being able to like go to places like China, going and seeing the Great Wall, playing in Hapoel Jerusalem as a Christian, going to the old city, just exploring the Dead Sea, going to playing in Russia, cold Russia, where Russia was an interesting experience, but it's not a country that I would just get up and just go again.
Yeah.
It was just too cold. Yeah. Going to Red Square, just being in Spain, seeing just interacting with different cultures, learning different languages, getting to know the people. For me, that was more invaluable.
Well, I see you as a trailblazer, really, and because there's a lot of kids that have tried to go to the States, whether it's just for high school or college, that just, couldn't handle the change, couldn't handle being in a place like Russia, and it takes a certain fortitude and a certain mental toughness to be able to leave your family and your friends and all the great things that you have at home and be able to do it on your own, because a lot of these kids they find themselves, they want to be in a basketball situation, and then they find themselves completely alone and not having the tools to deal with it. Would you say that to be the case?
And you're absolutely correct on that, because for me personally, it was about having the right support system.
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed to have good people around me that had my best interest, and I have to stress that. And not only me having the discipline and the dedication, like I said, that is something that was always instilled in me. If there's one thing I give my mom credit, was instilled in that type of, she had that rigid structure, because she was a former school teacher. Mm-hmm. So she was a big disciplinarian. So I grew up, under a structure where I learned to do things the right way, but I also had the right support system. And a lot of these kids don't have that, especially those coming out of the inner city communities. I don't believe it's an excuse, but a lot of these kids' shortcomings is that they don't have the right people around them. Yeah. But I had that base, and I was able to carry that base with me, and just have that that right mentality where I knew what I wanted. I set myself goals. I knew I knew that basketball wasn't going to offer me anything in Jamaica once I got that opportunity. And once I did get the opportunity, I realized also that academics was important, and I had to balance the academics with the athletics.
Yeah.
And that is something that these kids are having a hard time dealing with right now, if you realize.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, we touched on your college career, your pro career. So what about playing for Team Jamaica? You did that for what, 5 years maybe, 09 through.
I was on and off. I was on and off with the national team, and I believe, if I'm correct, I want to say that I came back in 2008, I believe, for the CBC championship, which we won, which I captained, and we won gold. Won gold medal in PBI.
Yeah.
And that was a very, for me, that's definitely on the top of my list.
Yeah.
As one of my crowning achievements, because I believe just playing for Jamaica, for me, I get more fulfillment playing for Jamaica than playing for a club team.
Right.
And winning gold at the CBC, for me, is definitely on the top of my list as basketball achievements. Just representing my country, wearing the colors, hearing the national anthem play, help leading them to a gold medal. That was huge for me.
When did that come on the radar for you? Was it something that when you started playing, you thought, maybe someday I'll be able to play for the Jamaican National Team? Or was it something that kind of came up while you were playing? Oh, they have this team, and maybe I'll play for it. Because I think for me, it's something that I hope as we move down the road that it becomes a dream for kids. That if you're 13, 14 years old right now, 12 years old, that you have a dream of playing for the Jamaican National Team. Not that that's your only dream, but that's part of the larger one.
All right, listen. Let me put this out there. I'm old school. I'm cut from a different. I'm cut from a different kind of cloth. I would compare myself. One of my idols in basketball, basketball idols, I would emulate myself or try to model my playing style of was Kevin Garnett. A lot of people, especially back then, because of my build, would compare me to him.
Hey, let me interrupt you. Hold on a second. Let me interrupt you. Kevin Garnett last weekend was voted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Did you read that? He's a Hall of Fame member.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of that. And just his no nonsense, his ferocity, the way he cares about the game, and really don't have no friends on the court. That's the type of attitude I had. And what I find now, with this current generation is that, and I can't really relate to a lot of the to the players here, especially the Jamaican ones, because I believe that they don't have the right. I don't believe that a lot of them have the right approach to the game, or they take it serious enough. I think it's of my belief, just being here on the ground and what I've observed so far is that they feel like it's like it's not their rite of passage, but it's just something that it's just given to them. And like, I'm gonna go along for the ride and enjoy it. Yeah, I'm the best player.
But I don't think that Kimani, I don't think that's just Jamaican kids. I think you hear that everywhere. There's a lot of kids who feel entitlement.
Yeah. A lot of the players now they're spoiled. You know what I mean? Especially with all the social media, where just by touch a button, you can connect with everybody. Everybody's seeing what you're doing. In my era, we didn't have that. You know what I mean? Even when even right now, I look back and I was like, I have so much footages, you know, pictures and everything that I don't have access to, and all these kids have all this access to these videos and photos that I'm like jealous and envy right now. I'm like, damn, I wish I could have get some of those photos, you know, pictures that I would be like all over, you know, posting stuff on, you know, so social media right now. But just to get back to what I'm saying, I just don't believe that the approach of this current generation is a right approach in how they go about bettering themselves and learning the craft.
Yeah. Well, you got done playing, and you touched about your mother being a school teacher and the great influence she had on you. And I think you and her, I don't know if it was more her or both of you, started the Star Search camp, that's been going now for quite a while. And you just started your own camp last year.
Yes, the Hoops with Friend. And it's been well, because of the current pandemic right now. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to to have it, but the last 2 years has been a success. It has grown every year. Last year we had over 100 kids from various communities and children's home, and I just look at it as one of my ways just to giving back to the community, and especially the less fortunate kids, just giving them opportunity, because I believe that there's a lot of kids out there that that have the talent and untouched talent, where we need to identify them and try help these kids find better pathways, or rather opportunities of getting maybe local scholarships or scholarships over overseas, just to create opportunities for these kids. Now, and also, of course, introduce them to the sport of basketball.
Right. But it also, it does more than that, because the vast majority of them aren't ever going to play basketball at a high level. Hopefully, they can play it through school. But I mean, it's more than that, right? It's the things that go along with the camaraderie, the discipline, the teammates.
Developing all these skills, like leadership, teamwork. What I mean? It's it's all about also team building. I mean, these are attributes that you're going to carry into the real world, and it's going to set you up for life. Just having that right structure, learning how to be a proper professional, learning how to be punctual, disciplined. That's what sports in general can offer you.
Yeah. So what would old man Kimani, I'm not calling you old, but what would old man Kimani?
I wouldn't say exactly old, man. I still can't get all of this over the rim.
What would old man Kimani tell young man Kimani? If you could talk to yourself.
That's a very interesting question. Old man Kimani would tell young man Kimani to be more humble.
Yeah.
I would say that, and to listen more. I would say that one of my, not so, I don't want to say desirable, but one of, I guess, my faults was that I was quick tempered. I was very emotional. So being young and being very competitive, which I was, where I didn't like losing. I really wore my emotional on my sleeve back when I was younger, and I didn't like to take telling when whether it's my teammates or it's coaches. I was very, very stubborn. So I would say that I would tell the young Kimani that just to
chill.
Chill. Listen. Be slow to speak, but quick to listen.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to have you give one more piece of advice, because there was some news yesterday about a young guy that we all know named Kofi Coburn, who put on his Instagram, and I'm going to read this because it might be small on the screen. It says, Illini Nation. To begin, I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to live out my dream and play this wonderful game that I love so much. Thank you to my coaches and mentors for taking a chance on me and guiding me on this journey. To my family, I can't thank you enough for the love and guidance. Without it, I don't know where I'd be today. To my team, the bond I have created with my teammates is something I will cherish forever. We continue to uplift, encourage, and motivate one another on and off the court, and for that, I'm thankful. To Illini Nation, what a road it's been. Thank you for welcoming me with open arms. You guys have made this journey all the more special. Game after game, you filled the arena, showing us what true unconditional support is. Ever since I began playing basketball, a fire has been lit inside me, which I knew I had to pursue to the full extent. With that being said, I have decided to declare for the 2020 NBA draft. Embarking on this new journey is something I've always dreamt of and have a special love for everyone who's helped me get there. Thank you, Kofi. What do you think of that?
Actually, I'm not surprised that he decided to make that jump, to the NBA. I mean, he had a great season average, I believe, at a double-double, if I'm not mistaken. Freshman of the year, got a lot of accolades, and especially with the whole COVID-19 going on and uncertainty with what's going to happen moving forward, and the cancellation, or rather the cancellation of the March Madness, which is where all the scouts go and evaluate all of those the NBA prospects, or even kids who just burst on the scene and just have a great March Madness, can create some type of opportunity for themselves, from as a former player, a professional player, and just going through that same route myself from the business side. I believe I support his decision. Coming from if you know in his background and coming from where he's coming from, he comes from a pretty tough background, and I think that he showed what he can do. He has the NBA body, he has the physicality, he has the talent. Of course, whichever team picks him, he's going to have the opportunity to work on the former pros, get further development. They can teach him the game, the proper way at the professional level, learn the NBA game. And there's not really much that, especially in the college structure, based on how the system is, that a lot of these players can get in terms of like further development, in terms of learning the skill. He has his he has his I guess deficiencies that of course he will improve on. He's a young player. I'm not sure how old is he. I think he's 21, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah,
19, 20.
So he's young. He hasn't reached his ceiling yet. So going into the NBA, going to an NBA structure right now will give him a lot of time to reach that peak. And I believe that if he develops a jump shot, and work on his defense some more, I believe that he can stick in the league.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's great news for him. I congratulate him. With him, nothing but the best. It's going to be
great for Jamaica.
It'll be fun to watch. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you go, but before I'm going to let you go, but before I do, I just kind of want you to tell me, if you could, some of the guys that when you were a kid, some of the Jamaican players, whether it was Italy, in Kingston, or whatnot, that you looked up to as players, Jamaican guys.
Sorry, Coach, I didn't get that. I didn't get.
I'm just before I let you go, I'm wondering what Jamaican players you looked up to when you were a kid.
Whoo! That's an interesting one. To be honest with you, the player that I liked growing up, that I somewhat wished he had done more for he had done more for Jamaica would have been Patrick Ewing. But in terms of local player, like I said before, basketball wasn't a sport that I followed when I was in school. But I remember watching guys like some of my Ardenites, from like Kirk Duncan, you know Boland. You have guys uh, like even from other schools like JC, for example. I remember this one player that stuck out for me that I liked his game was Murdoch. I mean, there's some guys that is that I'm forgetting right now, but there's this one player out of Augustown. I forgot his name. Gunner. Yes, I liked Gunner a lot. Everybody, those who are local would know who Gunner is. I mean, for me, he's definitely one of the all-time great local players that I personally, watched growing up. So those are some of those names were the guys that. But it was, honestly, it was a lot of the guys from my high school, my old high school, Arden, that I liked their game, and they're at the time. Those, back then the basketball was very, very, very good. The fundamentals, everybody, the players were more fundamentally sound. And, it was great playing in that. I call it the golden era of basketball during the 90s. Basketball, the stands were full. You know what I mean? Everybody came out and supported the various leagues.
Yeah, we'll get it back there. We will, believe me, for sure. I'm going to tell you something. I will let you go, but I want to tell you, I really thank you for doing this with me. I know you're a warrior for the game and your country, and you love Jamaica, you love basketball, and you have such a great history that I wanted you to share that with everybody. And I hope you do this with me again sometime, will you?
All right, no problem. Anytime, Coach. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. All right, man. Thanks, Kimani. We'll do this again. I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, but stay tuned. Appreciate you joining us. Talk to you later.